In one of the exercises, I say, what's the worst that can happen to you? So let's explore that. What's the worst that can happen to you? See, each one of you has something that is the worst that could happen to you. So think about what the worst is that could happen to you. If you can think it, it's in your computer. What's your worst nightmare? Is that wanting approval? Wanting control, or wanting to be safe? Or the fear of dying? And could you let go one of those wants? It's not protecting you. It's pulling it right in on you, what you don't want. You don't want to suffer. So give yourself permission to suffer right now. I don't bring up any feelings you have about suffering. And could you say yes to suffer? Could you say yes some more? Could you say yes some more? Could you say yes some more? Would you say yes some more? Would you say yes some more? And more. Can't you see it's in your mind? That there is no such thing as suffering? It's in your mind. Can't you see it? What you hold in mind is what you get. So if you're resisting suffering, you pull it in on yourself because you're asking for it. The mind deals in pictures, not words. If I say to you, don't suffer, what's the picture you get? Suffer. Don't fall down. You get a picture of falling down. So what are you picturing in your subconscious mind? Bring it up. What's your worst nightmare? Bring it up. Look how resisting it. Say yes to it. Say yes some more. Say yes some more. Say yes some more. Say yes some more. And more. And more. See if you're resisting. Most people's worst nightmare is dying. So give yourself permission to die right now. And surrender to dying. And more. And more. And more. Give yourself permission to suffocate. And surrender to suffocating. And more. And more. And more. Give yourself permission to choke. Could you let go resisting choking? See, we have programs about it. Don't choke, don't suffocate, don't. And anything you're don'ting, you actually got it in your mind. Or it wouldn't even matter. So think of something else you're don'ting. Something you wouldn't want to have happen to you. Could you let go resisting that? What you resist, you actually pull in on you. So could you let go resisting? And more. and more. Some of us, the worst thing that could happen to us is to lose all our money. Jack Benny was a comedian, and he was once held up by some robbers, and the guy said, "Your money or your life?" And you heard silence for 5 minutes. And the guy said, "I said, your money or your life?" He says, I'm thinking. So what else is your worst nightmare? What are you resisting? It's all in your mind. What you resist will persist. See if it isn't true. Everything you resisted eventually happens to you in your life because you're holding it in mind. You resist being drilled by a dentist, and what happens? You get drilled. What else do you resist? You don't like being operated on? Guess what? You held it in mind. You get somebody to look at that wonderful stuff that nobody can stand looking at. All that stuff inside you, under your skin. The stuff that makes your stomach turn. That's what's valuable to us. All that wonderful intestines. If you left it unexposed for a couple of hours, it smells. So that's what's wonderful. That's what's important to us. Holding on to this garbage. Holding on to a garbage machine. The minute you put food in, what happens? It starts to stink. How good could it be? I love my body. Gotta hold on to it for dear life. It's a very limited thing that you're holding on to think you're just a body. What if you could find out you're everybody? What if you could find out you're omnipresent, everywhere present? You can even miss a meal with that one. You could save some money. You don't even have to go to Starbucks. You could be Starbucks. So see what you decided about going free. Is it your body or your life? What did you decide? Your money or your life? What did you decide? What do you choose? It's your choice. It's your choice. It's always been your choice. I choose to be free, or I choose to keep holding on for dear life. There's something that eventually is going to deteriorate and get older. So what do you decide? There's only one way to go free, is to drop it. Drop your identification with your body. Drop your identification with your mind. See if you really have an intention to do that. It'll take a second if you just did it. Would you make a decision to let go of holding on to your body? See if it brings up a fear that I'm going to let my body go. I'm going to let it go. I don't care what it does. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most fearful and 1 being the least fearful, where would you be? Okay, so could you say yes to the fear? The fear of losing your body, could you say yes to it? Could you say yes to it some more? Could you say yes 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 some more? And a little bit more. And more. And could you say yes some more? And could you say yes some more? And more. And more. And more. And more. What's more important to you? Freedom? Or this little world that you think is so nice that you're trying to improve? Every day you try to improve it. You make more money. You stay healthy. Nobody gives you a hard time. It's a picture of what would be perfect, except it's not. There's something more. There's something much more. It's called beingness. Beingness doesn't have a form. It doesn't have a body. It doesn't need money. It has no illness. How could it have no illness when it has no form? So give yourself permission not to have a form. Give yourself permission to be nothing. Surrender to being nothing. Give up your body. See if you can make a decision. I give my body up. I give it up. I surrender. I stop resisting. I stop struggling. I surrender. See how nice it feels to just surrender. Show yourself. It's not what you say, it's what you show yourself. You can just experience it right now. If you want to go back to holding on to a body after you do it, you can do that. You're free. Free one does whatever they want to do. Have a body, not have a body. Well, how would you know if you don't do it? How would you ever really know what Lester's talking about if you don't do it? You're not going to learn it intellectually. You identifying with your body. So naturally, you think you have one. You are what you think you are. So could you let go of identifying with your body? Try it. Could you just let go? And more. And more. And more. Could you let go of thinking? Could you surrender to thinking? You don't need to think. Could you just surrender to thinking? And more. Could you give yourself permission to have no form? Could you surrender to no form? And more. And more. The love boat's leaving. And more. And more. And more. Just for a second, just give yourself a picture of having no form. Take a second. If you don't like it, you can get a form again. In fact, when you got born, you filled out a form. Most of you don't even like the form you filled out. That's weird. You signed on for a body, and then you don't even like it. When you're the one who created it. Now, how smart is that? Why don't you sign on with the masters who don't have a body, who don't suffer, who don't worry about anything. They just be and be. Could you surrender to being? Could you surrender to being some more? And more. And more. Think about your worst nightmare. It's a limitation in your mind. It brings up a fear. And if you have a fear, you're pulling it at you. So could you let go of that limitation, that fear? Could you let go of protecting yourself with fear? And more. And more. What are you afraid would happen if you didn't identify with your body? If you were formless, what do you think would happen? Could you let go and find out? Since you're a creator, you can get it back if you want. But you're never going to find out unless you try it. So could you let go of holding on to your form? Are you? Are you? Are you? See what decision you're going to make right now. You make a decision. I'm letting go. I want to be free. I'm going to be free this moment. I'm going to be free. Nothing more important. Don't care. Doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. So see if you can just get rid of it right now. Jump into being formless. Jump into beingness. Could you allow yourself to be? And be. And be. And be. And be. And be. And just surrender. Surrender it all. Surrender this world. I give up. I don't need the world anymore. I surrender. I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of figuring things out. I just don't want to struggle anymore. Makes a decision. I surrender. I give up. Check and see how nice it feels. So what are you giving up? You're giving up your suffering. You're giving up your struggle. Check and see how nice it feels right now. If it feels nice, could you let go of some more holding on? Could you let go of holding on some more? Could you just let go? Let go of whatever you're holding on to. And more. And more. And more. And more. Give it up. Why not be in peace all the time? The only thing that stops us from being in peace is that agitated mind, which has to hold on. Which says you're going to disappear if you let go. The only thing that disappears is your misery. Some of us are in such habit of being miserable, we don't know what to do if we weren't miserable. Now you make a decision. There's an expression, misery likes company. So if you want, you could be miserable like the rest of the people on the planet, or you could decide to be free and hang out with people like Jesus and Yogananda and Buddha and Lester. You decide. They don't have any limitations. They have all the bodies they want. Call them in right now. You can ask them, you don't have to believe me. Call them in. Whoever your favorite master is, ask them to please come in on you. Ask them if you can die. Ask them. I'll tell you. Ask them if they died. Ask them if they suffered. If they can suffer. Ask them if they need a body. Ask them if you need a body. Ask him if you need to think. Ask him why you think. What does it do for you? If you're really calling them in, they'll tell you the truth. They have no axe to grind. They don't want anything from you. They invite you to be realized like they are. Realize that you're not a body and you're not a mind, and nothing ever happened except in your mind. So get a picture of your mind, whatever that means to you. All that collection of wonderful thoughts, who you are, what you are, all that stuff. You don't need it. It's limitations. Could you let that picture evaporate and dissolve? The whole picture. Just allow it to evaporate and dissolve. And more. And more. And more. And more. And get a picture of this body. It's in your mind. Could you let that picture evaporate and dissolve? And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. Get in touch with that part of you that says, I have to do it all. If I don't do it, it doesn't get done. Could you just let that idea, that concept that you have to do anything, could you just allow it to evaporate and dissolve? Are you? Are you? Are you? It's beingness talking to you right now. Are you? Notice your answer. Are you? Are you? Are you? So let's ask beingness some questions. Let's ask. If you're not your body and you're not your mind and you're not your ego, what are you? Again, ask. If I'm not my body and I'm not my ego and I'm not my mind, what am I? There's no right or wrong answers, but whatever that answer is, could you just surrender to it? And more. And let it take you wherever it's going. And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. And more. Are you? Now ask yourself, if I'm not my mind, I'm not my ego, and I'm not my body, what am I? And whatever answer you get, can you just surrender to that answer? Just surrender to it. And more. And just let it take you wherever it's going. Just allow it to take you wherever it's going. Put your bags down. And just go with it. And more. Take a deep breath and say to yourself, I, and exhale and say, am. I am. am. I am. I am. Are you? Are you? Now this place that I call quiet speaks to us, and it's very spontaneous. So let's ask it some questions and just take what you get. From quiet's point of view, is there such a thing as the past? From quiet's point of view, just take what you get. And from quiet's point of view, is there such a thing as the future? Then take what you get. And from quiet's point of view, is there such a thing as right or wrong? Or good or bad? From quiet's point of view. Take what you get. And from quiet's point of view, is there such a thing as birth? From quiet's point of view. Ask quiet if you ever were born. If you were ever born, ask it. And take what you get. And is there such a thing as death? From quiet's point of view. And take what you get. And ask quiet what you need to do to be free. And ask quiet what you need to do to make a living. Take what you get. And right now you are is aware of awareness and conscious of consciousness. If you really take a check, you'll notice that nothing can happen to you. It's not possible to be destroyed. Check and see if that's the case, if there's anything that could possibly happen to you. If it's even possible for you to be destroyed. Check. And just allow yourself to enjoy being who you are. Just relax into it. And the trick is to stay here. And the only way to stay here is to keep quieting your mind. Okay, just keep your awareness on what you are. It has nothing to do with your eyes. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. Just have your intention on your beingness. Just be your beingness. You walk around just like you are right now. Just be and be. Takes a little getting used to, but you can do it.